Hi guys. So the book that I read this week was Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. Uh, this book won the Newbery Medal in 1991. It's actually a really interesting book. So we start with our main character, which is Jeffrey McGee. Um, his nickname becomes Maniac because he does things that the town he ends up living in, he to them that he does crazy things. So his parents, we start with the fact that his parents die in a trolley accident, and then he gets sent to live with his aunt and uncle. And his aunt and uncle they're not bad people, or so it's not portrayed, but they don't talk to each other. It's like they're divorced, but they won't get a divorce because they're Catholic. So they end up having two of everything, and they even split time that they have with Jeffrey until finally it gets to the point where he can't stand it anymore, and he runs away. And so um, he ends up in a town called Two Mills that is odd to Jeffrey because of the fact that there's literally a street that divides it between the East End and the West End. And it's basically black versus white. So this puzzles McGee, and so he ends up um, trying to get the town kind of together in his own way. He doesn't really see people as being different based on their skin color. In fact, at one point in the book, it talks about how he looked at himself really hard in the mirror and was relieved to see that he didn't see any white on him whatsoever. He saw little, dark color brown here, and it's all just like different shades of brown that he sees. So he doesn't really see what the issue is, what the difference is. And he ends up sort of bringing the town together. Not really the town, but two of his main enemies. He actually gets to kind of change a little bit, one more than the other. So one of them actually becomes a really good friend of his. And he gets him to see that the West Side, or where all the white people are, is just like the East Side. He also goes to live with a family called the Beals, and he loves it there. That eventually becomes his permanent home. But he feels like he gives them such a hard time for being him that he runs away, and he decides to live at the zoo, where he meets a man named Grayson, who Grayson takes him in until Grayson dies. It's very sad. And then McGee goes back to Two Mills and he doesn't really try to make amends. He tries to help who he can, and he ends up making amends, and he goes back to live with the Beals. It's a very good book. I really liked it. It is, I think, for your older readers. Third and fourth graders, that could be pushing it. I would say more fourth grade and up. Generally, I'm not a person who shies away from difficult books, but I could see how it could be seen as offensive and lead to a lot of questions that maybe some parents aren't ready to answer at certain ages, and it can also show, it might be a little confusing to kids who don't understand our history. So I think it needs to be shared at a point where kids start to really grasp what has happened in U.S. history. would be a good place to start. Um, but otherwise, I would have it in my classroom. I think it's a good read, and I think it's definitely something that kids could relate to. I like the fact that he doesn't go off and do something spectacular and gets the whole town together. He gets one or two people to change their mind, and this will start something. But I like the fact that it's not big, and I feel like it'll make kids think, well, if I just reach one or two people, that will be okay. That is fine. And even as teachers, we have to remember that. If I cannot, our goal is to teach and reach our whole class. But if we reach just one or two kids, we need to be okay with that because that has made an impact. We have changed that child's life, hopefully for the better. So, uh, I what I really like about this book. The next thing, is the activity. So my activity would be, so Jeffrey gets into a lot of confrontations in this book, and he handles them he's very calm. He runs away from a lot of his problems. And so I was going to have the kids kind of compare and contrast problems that they have had, and then compared to how they reacted versus how McGee reacted. And then maybe throw in, what could be done differently. This is a chance for them to use a Venn diagram or columns or whatever to share alike and different. And I think it's also a good place to start on bringing up where they have met diversity in their own life, where they've seen people not agree with them. So it really gets them to think about their own opinions and values. So there's some different things you could do, but I think that would be a good place to start.